I've been getting more flexible, which is.
It's cool, huh?
Do you get tired ever?
I mean, yeah. What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm
What
working
kind of
on.
tired?
I'm just working on this theory. So there's Mike Reezy, who we know, and
Yeah.
then my friend Brandon, who I've been skating with, and they're both just
Nonstop.
insanely hyper, and it seems like they never get tired. And you're kind of
I think with exercise
an
stuff, I
energy
kind of
guy
do
where you're
that.
just, you know what I mean?
I can keep going for a long time,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's like sort of a loaded question, depending on what's going on in your life
Sure.
too. So like, yeah, I don't know. Like, like with everything going on with me, I've been way more tired and way less driven. So I keep showing up and doing things, but I get. It's like I exercise usually is like a proper, not escape, but it's a proper like you're in the moment, and I'm in a zone right now where I actually most of the time can't only be in that moment. Yesterday in the hero workout, I was only in that moment,
Yeah.
and I was doing ring muscle ups and squats and deadlifts and power cleans. But no, there's a lot of workouts and stuff now where it's like if your head's not in the right spot, I get more tired and I don't do as well. Like, dude, basketball on Sunday, I was like I was doing okay, but not doing terribly well, and I was getting annoyed for the first time ever. I was like, "This fucking sucks." I'm angry, and I was like, this is reflective." So I have a high capacity for work endurance and time, and
Yeah.
like a lot of time, and I can keep going pretty hard for a long time. Like I wasn't tired at the end of basketball. My feet were, but I could have kept going. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense?
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that is at all.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to tap into people's mindsets who seem like they don't ever have to stop.
Some of that I don't know if is healthy though. I think some of those people have like it built in terms of like a survival instinct of like if you stop then there's danger. And I don't think I'm exactly there, but I know that that's where I've been in the past.
Yeah. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. There's ways to look at it in terms of is what you're doing an escape from something that you don't really like?
Sure.
Where I'm looking at it is how do I have just more work,
Mm.
more capacity?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe some of that for me was learned too, where it was like because I helped start Verve and there's just shit that happened where you had to that it taught me if you go for 3 months without one day off from basically 5 till minimum 9 o'clock at night every day, give or take, it's like somehow it just gets built into you that you like just can keep going because you just had to. And so sometimes that just happens for me.
I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. I won't say their name because
Yeah.
it's whatever. But we were talking about work. So they work for a big, huge corporate
Yeah.
situation, and they were talking about how the structure is just fucking nuts. So, you've got a team, and then
Sure.
you've got several different levels of management all communicating with some form of upper management and then supervisors and managers, and there's a difference between it's just this huge thing. Anyway, we were talking about bringing stuff to work. They're like, yeah, someone on my team, was just like, yeah, I was thinking about this thing and it was really affecting me. And, I didn't like that. I'm not really your therapist. Like,
Yeah.
just seems unprofessional. So it started this whole conversation about what is professional, what has to stay at work, what doesn't have to stay at work. What is your responsibility as a leader? What are you allowed to bring to the table? And then the reason I transitioned into that is because this person is definitely the hardest charger ever. Like, had a surgery and didn't want to miss their review the next day. So they're supposed to be bedridden, but they came into work just to get their review, even though I'm sure, they could probably push the review for,
Yeah.
a week or whatever until you recover from your surgery. And, chronic overwork because super high performer and feels like that's what
Yeah.
that's what the secret sauce is, right? What's your secret sauce? Oh, my secret sauce is working harder
show
than
up
everybody else,
the
showing
time.
up like a motherfucker. And I was like, I don't know. I'm looking at you, and from my perspective, your secret sauce is that you're really smart and you work harder probably than most people, but you could also
Yeah.
probably get away with 80% or 70% of what you're putting in, and
maybe have more.
still crush and
Yeah.
be healthier, because some of it, like, going to work, after you've had a big surgery when you're not supposed to, is actually self-destructive,
Not
not
good.
high performing.
Totally.
And the way people view that, and they're like, well, but if I show up at 70%, that's a step down, and that's
Right.
not my
But you're only viewing
my
that yourself.
best. Yeah, it's like, in terms of you, sure, but you're
only
still
you know
working harder than probably everybody else. And also, is the goal actually to work harder than everybody else?
Yeah.
Or is the goal to get the job done really well, and there's maybe a million ways to do that? And then it just got even more exploded, because my other friend's like, well, you're looking at it from terms of a coffee shop. You guys have baristas, these are executives and this and that. And I was like, I get that. One, I don't spend most of my time working with baristas. I
Yeah.
spend most of my time working with our leadership group.
Right.
And also, this is where my belief systems were coming into play. I was like, I don't like, just because corporate works that way doesn't mean that that's the best and only way for it to work.
No,
It's
no,
like,
no.
So sure,
Yeah.
your company culture might encourage that, but I
Yeah.
don't think it has to be like that.
Sure.
And everyone's job is super important. People have a lot of, I'm on a big rant tangent, but people have a ton of limiting beliefs about not just themselves, but about their jobs and how they can show up to their jobs. Like, everything's not going to get done if I don't literally kill myself to do the work. And I just don't think that's true, and I don't think that's the kind of stamina that we need.
Well, no, it's true that we don't need that kind of stamina. The problem is the workplace culture is reward the person who is that insanely high shower upper performer. Therefore, everybody feels like the pressure to be that. Otherwise, they won't get. And that needs to change.
That is true.
That's shitty, though, because it's not helpful. It means.
But also, we have to look at it in from a 360-degree point of view. So if we are employees or employers and we get those rewards, and those rewards usually come in increased status and increased money, and the thing that's also tacked, this person's looking at leveling up, and they're probably going to level up, even though they've leveled up multiple times. And they're like, looking at getting this thing, which means I'm like, forget about what I'm doing right now. I'm going to have to do even more. And I'm like, well, I don't actually agree with that. I think maybe you're going to get the
more responsibility.
You're going to get more responsibility, or you're going to get leveled up because you're already doing what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I'm actually trying to say is, with the increased money and increased status usually comes an increase in stress and an increase in just that, oh my God, overwhelm in cultures that are rewarding those things. So you can get continually rewarded. You're like, oh my God,
as your life consistently gets worse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem,
it's getting
right?
better and worse at the same time.
It's only better if, that's where our philosophy doesn't really jive with that, because it doesn't actually get better with the more you have for everybody. I mean, it's like Jim Carrey's talked about it over and over and over again. You get everything you want and you're super unhappy still. It's because it's not actually everything you want. The other part is that potential percentage left on the table where you could, or what that you could leave on the table and still be successful and maybe feed all the stuff that actually matters, or else you could find yourself very rich and very sad.
What if there's this magic sweet spot? So it's you work yourself to death. You get a lot done. You get a raise. You get more status at work. Everything's going, and because of that, the workplace is super productive.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's a curve? What if there's this curve to where if everyone says, hey, let's just back off a little bit.
Right.
Not in showing up and trying. I think that's where people get it twisted, because people are saying like, oh, you're not working hard. It's like, no. You show up when you show up, and you kick ass for the time that you're there.
Sure.
But then when you're not there, you don't have to take
You're
calls
allowed to
at,
not be there.
1 in the morning. You don't have to do all this other weird shit. You don't have to have the stress and anxiety. You're just off when you're off.
Those big corporate jobs don't allow that, it seems.
I know, but I'm wondering what happens if they allowed that. I think this is just me thinking in real time. what would happen is you would see initially a decrease
Sure.
in
Briefly.
productivity briefly. And then if the culture was actually supporting it, you would see an increase in
Creativity
happiness,
and innovation, too.
creativity, innovation. And then over time, even with less throttle, you would probably see an increase in productivity again because all of those other metrics, creativity, happiness,
Right.
job satisfaction, are higher.
Right.
And in those environments, people do better work.
Right.
So even if you're showing up less, let's say you move the work, just to make it simple, you move the work week to 4 days instead of 5 days.
Right.
So showing up for 8 hours less, in a better mood, with a more open mind, eager to do the work that you have to do because no one's got a fucking gun to your head, and then everything's fine.
Right.
But
And
then I think that's totally possible.
Well, that's not even to mention all the money that a lot of these places spend on all of the things that make it look cool in there, like all the workout places and the cool dining, which the dining might need to stay somewhat, but like whatever, all the game rooms, the this, the that, the other, to like make it feel awesome, that basically very few people end up using. And the whole point to have them there is to keep them from doing and spending time on the space outside of work.
Yeah.
So they could save a lot of money in terms of all the things that they buy to make it look awesome, to make you get addicted to work, and instead potentially, have a happier, retention level higher place of work with a culture that breeds betterment.
I feel like that could be real.
Of course it could be real.
The problem is, once that happens, once you get to that increased productivity, let's keep going on the 4-day work week just because it's easy to deal with. You get to that place where everyone's mind is open, everyone's doing really good things, the goals are being met, and if they're not being met, everything's moving forward at a sustainable rate.
Right.
Like, wow, this is a good place to be. And then, all it takes is for one person in charge or the leadership to see that not as, oh, wow, this is a really good situation we've got here. Or they could look at it like, there's still that extra day.
That's
no one's
the
coming
thing.
in on Friday, so we're actually not at our potential. And then they take the gun out again and put it up against everyone's heads again. And it's like, then you squeeze the juice, then productivity goes back up for a little bit, and they're like, oh my God, yes, it's working. I'm the fucking best manager ever. And then everyone's bummed.
I mean, that's, I think, maybe always the issue, right? Is you have these places that go public in some capacity, and the whole point then becomes metrics. And that is tough. It doesn't have to be that way. If you can go out
culturally, it is that way.
But
though.
culturally, it's that way,
yeah.
right? Because what they'll do with your example of the 4-day work week is say, well, our percentages are down, or our percentages could be increased this much with not only that day, but if we do this, that, and the other, and we're allowing all this extra free time. But really, if we had them, we just paid them a little bit more, but had them on the clock able all this time, then we're going to be able to get this much more percentage out of this and this much more percentage out of that. And if we cut that, we do. And it's just, those people are oftentimes, their whole job is just to do that, which doesn't necessarily reflect on all the shit that happens on the other side of it.
Yeah, it's when you're running an organization based off of a single metric only.
Yeah. Money.
You're basically cooking up a stew with all kinds of bad ingredients, because you're setting the tone for you to do something really, really shitty, setting the tone for you to do something that you don't want to do and probably don't agree with in the name of that shareholder.
Right.
That's the widely accepted framework for what a corporation is. You got that Milton Friedman shareholder supremacy, where it's like the goal of an organization is to increase its value to the shareholders by any means necessary.
Right.
And that's,
has nothing to do with the people.
Then you have people doing really lame things to increase that balance sheet. And it's weird that it doesn't matter that we have all these examples of seeing when it goes really, really wrong. Like recently, you have the Wells Fargo scandal where people are incentivized to just open shit tons of fraudulent accounts that don't exist because the culture is rewarding that. Or the 2008 bubble that burst because you got all these mortgages
really smart,
and
shady
loans.
people.
Like, I don't even know what the term for that is, but
Yeah, I
you know,
don't
when
remember
loans are
either. If you
leveraged on
watch
other
it,
loans and
yeah.
then split up into a million different pieces, and then nobody's actually responsible
Right.
for the loan,
But
and
the money's there.
it's crazy because there's relatively little punishment for these egregious activities. It's like, you know, Wells Fargo got slapped on the wrist, I think, for, you know, millions of dollars for
Right.
something that was way bigger than that, you know? And with in 2008, it's like, oh man, we actually can't let these
We're just
people fail.
yeah.
Like, we're going to pay for them
Yeah.
to bail them out because our economy is supposedly so leveraged on them.
Isn't that crazy?
It's gnarly. Yeah, there's no accountability and responsibility.
Well,
So
and Viktor Frankl's Yes to Life book, he keeps talking about how we just continuously reduce humans to the numbers that they create and not the value that they are. And that's essentially what all of this is, and why it's can feel so disgusting is that the group of people who make all of the decisions aren't considering humans, they're considering productivity. And they're essentially reducing human life worth to their ability to be productive,
yeah,
which
and
is disgusting.
it's weird. And I get so mad when people aren't held accountable, because when you're not held accountable, you have no reason to change your behavior.
Yeah, you just
know
have
what
more
we're saying is you can set up these entities, run them in a really shitty way, and if you're big enough and have enough money, there's actually no consequences. So just keep doing what you're doing.
I mean, positionally, that can happen too, right?
Like,
You get
that's
to the level of
crazy.
the sea level, and then you can just keep getting fired and hired because you were on the sea level and keep moving around sea level to sea level, kind of theoretically messing up people or businesses,
Oh,
and
sure, we've seen that. Yeah.
consistently, though, grow your resume and your theoretical value to corporate sea level
Yeah, and that's a
executive.
that's a different one, because there are people in that sphere who, because of who they know or who they've been in contact with in the past, have so much, I don't know, we'll call it power,
Sure.
that it makes it a little bit more difficult for people to be, you know what? I worked with Jared at his former job, and Jared fucking sucks,
Yeah.
actually. I know everybody loves Jared, and he's
Yeah.
super popular,
Looks
and he
good.
works for all these good companies,
Totally.
but Jared's actually a complete dick. He doesn't care about people. He does a bad job, and he leaves all the companies that he works for worse than they were in
Totally.
the first place, and he takes a whole shitload of money doing it. Like, it's hard to say that, because you say that, then everybody who is in
Right.
your pocket is like, yeah, don't ever fuck with Chris again.
Right.
Like, he's blacklisted from everything. Like,
Isn't that weird?
it's gnarly.
It's hardcore.
It's super gnarly.
And it's all in the name of more. I mean, I think that's kind of been our frustration, though, with world and business and life. Anyways, it's like everybody wants to have a certain amount of wealth, and I think that's fair. Like, there's nothing wrong with having the wealth needed to have a good life. But the problem is that, like, it just never stops. Like, the bar just gets raised higher and higher and higher, and it's like, I need yachts and I need this and I need that, and that's where it'd be nice to have some sort of, I don't think socialism's the right word, but that's what everybody will assume I'm talking about, right? Where you kind of cap people at a certain level, and then you allow for the extra to start spreading out further. And I know that's a semi-socialist idea, but
it is a semi-socialist idea, and I don't think that is that's not the way I would do it.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing that's still missing from that whole scenario is the personal responsibility. It's
Sure.
someone telling you,
yeah.
hey, if you get to this level, that's it. You're done. And
Right. That's not what I'm.
where it's
totally.
like, I think what we need culturally is, and we'd have to baby step there.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's take the simplest workplace example. Like, just maybe accept the fact that you don't need to kill yourself
Sure.
for 12 hours a day to do good work. Like, maybe accept that that's possible. Like,
Yeah.
that's phase one. And if those thoughts start to trickle up and become widely accepted, then we get into what our vision is, which hopefully there's more companies like us.
Right.
Where it's like, we could do more.
Mm-hmm.
We could make more money. We still want to make money and provide to be able to spread our message
Sure.
and take care of the people who are around us. So if we're talking about, you know, we could theoretically scale infinitely without being completely irresponsible, you know, and needing to have yachts, but it's accepting that, like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'm not actually, I think leaving something on the table is even a bad way to put it, but it's like, I'm going to focus my metrics around several different things.
Yes,
Where
of
it's like,
course.
cool, I want to do what's right for the company and provide because it helps me spread my mission. I want my workplace to be filled with people who enjoy what they do and feel fulfilled at the end of the day, and I want to provide paths for growth for people who want to level up in certain ways
Right.
and do things that are fun for me and others around me. I don't know what they are. I just made that shit up, right?
Right.
But it's like, if you have something like that, then you can put the lenses on and they can steer you in that direction of okay, cool. Here's what's going to be right for all of those things. Like,
Right.
it's a balance of things. It's like checks and balances for your workplace. Whereas
That's
now
totally-
we only have one, which is make fucking more money.
Yeah, the
Make-
corporate
and then
one,
make
make more money and make it faster,
Make even more money.
and race against somebody else.
Yeah,
because I mean, ideally, like the way the presumption in what I was suggesting is that everybody can still grow. It's just you don't get to be that person who. Basically, there's these people, and then there's the above this list, and this list above always grows, where this list never grows. And so you're right. Like, there needs to be an accountability and ability for people to work and continuously grow. But the difference would be that C-level always is going to take a 20% raise, while everybody else is going to take 4%. But the 20% is so much more. You know what I'm saying? That's more. That's more what I mean when it sounds socialist. That would not be the idea. The idea would be more like, we're actually. The higher up you get, the less percentage you're going to take, because it's all so much more. And we're going to work on spreading that with the people who are going to help us continue to forever grow, spread our message, make the world a better place. And that's where I feel like you could, in many corporations, work out such a better world for people, and then incentivizes them to actually do good work and to care about their day and to find value in what they do, versus no matter what I do here, no matter how hard I work, I'm the highest performer by a landslide every year, and I'm capped at a 4% raise no matter what. Year after year, I can get maybe more than 5% tops, because that's how this corporation works, unless I get a new job.
Right. That's how life works unless you get a new job. That's
Yeah.
why so many people can't. That's why you can't stay at a job right now.
Right. And that's the part where I feel my idealistic mind would be like, maybe if there was a way to work that into play, even at a lesser degree to what I'm talking about, it would probably be very, very valuable.
I have a hard time with the 4% year over year.
Me too.
I'm a big pay for performance guy.
Yeah.
Which
it's hard to do when we only have a coffee company right now.
I don't know. I'm sure it sounds weird talking about what we're talking about. Again, I have to make the distinction that I would expect the people around me to show up and do really awesome work and work really hard, and that doesn't have anything to do with
money.
Crushing yourself or killing yourself. Like, you can be a super high performer and also have some sort of healthy boundary with work and the things that go with it. But yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it a few times, but I think you need to open. Well, that's the thing. It's like, we have some investment, but it's so minuscule in terms of, I guess we could share it. What are the overall percentage of the company?
It's like 7-ish%.
Under 7, yeah. And it's all with people that we are friends with, who we've known for many, many years and have
they believe in our long
personal relationships with.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of that, it's we can kind of do whatever we want.
Right.
So if
the trust is there for us to,
let's say if we opened 3 new stores,
right,
and said, Nicole, all of these 3 stores are going to have kitchens. It is now your job to figure out the kitchens for all of these 3 stores. Hire a team, whatever you need to do. Yeah. It's a lot more work than you're going to do right now, so we're going to give you this fucking huge lump sum raise, whatever that is, well above 4%.
Sure.
We can do that, and no one's going to be like, why would you do that? They're going to be like, yeah, that's great. Cool. Pay for performance. You do that in a setting where the company's basically owned mostly by investors, and you have to justify every raise to everyone.
Never agree.
And they're like, well,
somebody will never agree.
I know you're going to give her 4 times the work, but can we just
look
keep
how
it
much
at 4%?
We could make if we
we can skim a little bit more.
Income will come like this, and we'll give her some, but then we'll take the rest for this group. And
yeah, it's weird to send like disproportionate amounts of the money away to people who aren't doing the work, even
Mhm.
though there's so many different levels. I'm sure my ignorance in business is going to come out here, but it's not like, let's say you started a restaurant and like you're
Mhm.
like some sort of financier. Let's say
Sure.
Jared's got a lot of money,
Sure.
and Chris
Yeah, yeah.
wants to open a restaurant,
Right.
and
Here's the
Jared's
money.
like, hey, I'll give you $500,000 to open this restaurant.
Yeah.
I want a piece of this. This is our agreement.
Yep.
Whatever. In that sense, it makes sense. We connect. We decide what we're going to do with the money.
Right.
You don't do the work, but you get
You fund a dream.
You fund a dream, so
Right.
you get a certain percentage of the profits of that dream.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But when
Yeah.
we're talking about like board meetings, it's not like people helped build those companies with like huge personal investment on their own. They just happen to sit on a board or own shares of stock. It just feels a little bit weirder to me. It feels
Totally.
like a lot more convoluted,
Mhm.
where it's like, I don't understand why.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. I totally understand
But it's
that
like, is
Friedman
there
style of economics. I just don't think it's the best way possible. I think there's a way where investors can still make decent money,
Yeah.
and you can run a company that works and people are stoked to be there, and you're doing good things as a company. And is it going to be maybe less money to the investors at the end of the day? Sure, maybe.
Maybe for
But
a time.
it's still going to be a great investment.
Yeah, I think that's just where it gets weird, right? Is that oftentimes people take investment without the relationship, and they take investment because they just need, right? And so they don't realize potentially that they're getting into business and to debt essentially to somebody who doesn't necessarily care about them or their vision. They just are like, oh, this person's hungry and I'm going to be able to cash in on this hunger. And that's, there's a much different kinds of investors. There's the investor who's just the angel investor who's like, I got a shit ton of money. I'm going to give it to you. Make sure I get it back at this point. I'm never talking to you again. You got the investor who actually is interested in the process, hopefully, and cares a shit ton about it and is there to assist but believes. So they give you the money and they're like, hey, hit me up with whatever you need. I'll bring contacts. I'll bring whatever. And then you got there's probably more, but then you got the investor who's like, here's all this money and I will be getting a lot of this money back. And if you don't get it a certain way, I'm going to step in and start telling you how to do it. But guess what? I don't know anything about your business and I'm going to start making decisions for it if it doesn't go the way I'd like it to, which could mean I need you to open 4 more locations to make me my money back. And that's where shit gets bad.
Yeah, and the problem with the kid who's looking at starting a business is it might not be super clear that that person is that kind of person when you first meet them.
That is the
They could be
scary
total,
danger.
Wolf in sheep's clothing. Where
You can get a college loan when you're 18 and they tell you it's great to sign that thing and get your 50 grand.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
It's the same thing.
It's fucking
It's
nuts.
the same thing.
Yeah,
they know they're going to make their money on you.
That's even gnarlier because it's
Right.
all encouraged by the government and federally
everybody
backed
else.
by the government. Like, that's just crazy.
It's all the similar principle, though,
It's like,
right?
we're happy to take money from people who don't know shit.
Right. And the thing is the investor is always on the hook, I guess, if they give money and the business goes out of business. So they have to be smart enough, but at the same time, you can write yourself in a lot of leeway
I'm
as
not
the investor.
saying they should get nothing.
No,
I mean,
you're
they
not at
are
all.
putting up the money. There is value
Yeah.
in that. Like like that is real. They should get something. It
Yeah.
should be a good investment for both parties.
Yeah.
But I think there's just we have a culture of maximizing, and we might be better if we had a culture of optimizing.
Look at that line, dude. Put it on your Instagram.
Put that on the story, baby. Here we
Maximize
go.
or optimize. It's your choice.
I just got you the fucking title. I got you the clip.
Optimize Prime. It's my new
Sign up for
transformer.
Our new company, Optimize Prime.
Optimize
Let us
Prime.
optimize your business.
Yeah.
So you'll be putting out Prime.
Your
products.
packages will not come overnight.
Don't sue us,
and
Amazon.
it's okay.
Thank you. Go fuck yourself.
Talk to Leo. He might fuck you first. Ayo.
Oh. Wait, who's Leo?
DiCaprio. You should watch it.
Which one?
Leonardo DiCaprio. It's a whole meme going around right now. Actually, it's not a meme. There's a video of Jeff Bezos and his girlfriend meeting Leo, and it's very obvious that she's hyper enamored with him and is basically giving him hyper googly eyes. And Bezos
awesome.
just kind of sitting there like, yeah, man, I'm a guy.
What are you
I'm one
going
of
to
the
do,
richest
dude?
men in the world. I flew to the moon. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah. Which means nothing when you're standing next to Leo, dude.
I know. And
Leo's
so
crushing
Bezos
it.
put out a picture the next day of him standing by a cliff sign that says like and it says, "Hey Leo, come over here," and it's like a cliff behind him, like, "Don't come close, cliff,
At least he's having
dangerous."
fun with it.
Yeah, well, that,
Imagine your billionaire space traveling ego being bruised. Oh my god.
imagine, if you will, that maybe he's not very happy and he has all the money in the world.
Imagine that everybody who's around you and pretends to love you might actually not.
Oh gosh, and there you have it. The full circle of what could be if you care more about the money.
Imagine having all of that money and using it to just, that was a meme too. Did you see that, where someone was posting like, the dude with the fucking most money on earth is just blowing it to take like amusement rides into space instead of helping other people.
Now they're trying to like pledge money to the rainforest and stuff. People, it's like a new push. I think, yeah, anyway, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, they better pledge more.
It's a lot more. They
Not
got
to
plenty.
tell people what to do with their money. I am not one of those. I think we're however it works, we're playing this game and we're involved in this game too, which is called capitalism, and everyone here is playing it.
Americanism.
Like, we are playing it.
Yeah.
Like you and I are playing it, and it's it's working for us, and it's funny to look at the disparity between like hyper rich and super poor and see that in a microcosm in your own little sphere, which is, we've stacked the work up, we've put in the time, we've taken the risk to build this thing, and because of that, in terms of, earnings, we earn a lot more than someone who just started an organization.
Sure.
That makes sense. It's interesting, though. So I'm not like, dude, people who make all their money need to give it away. But it's interesting when you have so much fucking money that you can't spend it.
You never would be able to spend it all. Yeah.
Because the amount of interest that you're earning on your investments
daily,
on billions of dollars daily, is just astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you cannot run out of money. So a lot of the money that you give, even though it is a lot of money, and they're contributing way more than we are because we don't have that kind of extra money,
right?
It's still peanuts in terms of their entire earnings.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Wiser, you should link a podcast. Seth Godin did a podcast. It was a couple of years ago, but I think the title of the podcast is Bill Gates Has a Problem. And it is on this very thing, and it talks about the philanthropy and the out of balance between the philanthropy and just the sheer earnings from interest on just
people
millions
just look at
and
the Gates, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, like they're killing it. And it's but also they're writing all that off and actually just making more money off of it a lot of the time.
Yeah, and the idea isn't to bag on people for not doing enough or say that it doesn't matter, but it's like, look at the potential of what's hard, of what's possible.
Optimize.
And then you can, you can set your family up to have insane generational wealth. And like, imagine if you threw let's say you had 2 kids. I don't know how many fucking kids Bill Gates has. I don't know how many kids Bezos has, whatever. Let's say you gave your kids, a little starter pack of some paltry version of millions.
A little paltry. Just give them like 1 egg's worth of a billion. What is that?
Give him like 10 Bitcoin or something.
I know. He probably has like that.
I don't know. Whatever. And then use the rest of the money to figure out all the shit that's actually happening.
You would think.
I don't know.
But they don't want to or somebody doesn't want to think about that. Somebody doesn't want to use that.
And I'm saying actually figure it out, not just donate it, because I think there is this whole...
Oh, right. Just give them money and walk away.
Just give people money. Yeah, there's
you figure it out.
Right. I think that's a lot of...
But that's what investment is. You figure it out.
You figure it out.
You figure it out.
There's
a book called The Go-Giver by Bob Gurr. It's a short book, but it's really good. And it talks about a really, really successful... It's essentially speaking to the culture that we are talking about in a way, and it's just this really successful person, and somebody's at their corporate job at the top of the level, and something goes wrong, and they want to learn and be better, and they go to try to meet with this person, and essentially this person introduces them to 5 people along the way, and then you find out at the end they're all connected because of somebody in the story. And anyway, it's worth a look, but there's just the whole idea of you can be really, really impactful without having to go 110,000 miles an hour all the time. And that impact can be worth more than that 110,000 ever would be, no matter what. It all comes down to spending the time to do it wisely, to use your time wisely, to use your connections wisely, to care, and not to just think about maximizing every single thing possible to squeeze every ounce of energy out of anything. Because if you can leave energy, then that energy can then be, added up and passed along to somebody else. And if you can pay that energy forward, then something changes. If you use all that energy for your benefit and maybe one other person's benefit, there's no energy left. There's only capital. And then that capital goes what? You have to go use it on sucking somebody else's energy away, potentially.
Right.
If you don't have any, or you have to take a huge break and relax. And I just think about tech companies when I'm thinking like this, right? Because I imagine they're throwing a shit ton of money away in failures because everything is a race to be the first to or the next. Always. It's just, that's all it is. What's next? And the minute you're done with something, you're starting on the next thing. And there's no fucking way that they're not wasting appropriately some ways, right? R&D you have to fail to move forward, but how much are they wasting in terms of human capital where they could probably slow down?
See, I don't even know if, R&D is part of the process, and I don't even know, it's like, how much are they wasting? It's more of, what are they wasting it on?
Yeah, both of those fall into the same mental scope for me. It's
you
just
know what? Like, let's say we took that amazing machine that is tech, and instead of trying to figure out how to create social media platforms that make it incredibly obvious where they're just like mining for people's information, like information, what if we put that into something else? What if we said, okay, maybe there is a bigger goal rather than getting more money from advertisers. Maybe there's a better reason to use Google or create this Chrome rather than putting fucking, whoever wants to pay for these ads at the top of my search bar. Like, maybe there's a bigger thing, maybe there's a bigger problem that we can use these billions of dollars and all these super fucking smart people to solve.
Totally.
It's like, great. We have everything, and now my phone listens to me and tells me if I said something about a bicycle, I can open up Instagram and get bike ads. That's what we're doing. That's good. Good. I'm so glad.
I'm so proud of us.
I'm so proud. Yes, dude. Humanity has come such a long
so proud of us.
way.
We listen in and we
selling ad
subconsciously
space.
Sell to people who forgot they talked about a thing that they don't even want, but now they kind of want a little more.
Was capitalizing on people's addiction of convenience. It's like, I'll do anything as long as it's convenient, and now I know that I need. Well, here's the thing.
What I know.
So let's take those failures. Let's take that money. Let's fucking solve an actual problem. Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, what I really know now is that we've blacklisted ourselves, and this podcast probably won't even be seen because the algorithms will be like, oh no, don't put it out. Oh no, you didn't.
I don't even know what to say, dude.
That's the best part, and I think
I'm
that's
all,
the whole point.
If you like this, keep liking it.
Tell your friends about it.
Tell somebody, yeah.
Like,
that
subscribe,
was it. It's the
rate,
podcast. Mix it up.
Put it on a podcast.
Tweak the levels.
With Cat Cloud Coffee.
Anywhere podcasts are served.
That's it. At Cat Cloud Coffee. YouTube and Patreon, Instagram and shit. We'll tell you about stuff, and you tell us what you want. It will be a hit. The song.